untap upkeep, and welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't, sit back, relax, and enjoy our show for you today. So, we have Tarkir Dragonstorm that is still pretty fresh on everybody's mind. People are ripping open packs, buying up commander decks, and everybody's brewing and storming with everything they got. And I've already built 2 decks off of 2 of the dragons, and well, I thought I would take you on a trip today with me to see how I've built a third, if you will. Um, it's not going to be the best. It's a very odd mechanic, so it's not exactly a full-blown powerhouse like I believe it could be. I think it needs a little bit more help from Wizards, and it might actually potentially be something. Or maybe I'm just not seeing something that all of you might need to tell me about. Maybe there's something I've missed. Wouldn't be surprised with how much knowledge and magic I have that I've missed something. So let's dive into it, shall we? So for today we're going to talk about Neriv, the Crackling Vanguard. He is from the precon of the Mardu Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander deck. He is the backup commander, if you will. Me being the dragon fanatic that I am, figured I would build this guy and see how well I like him as the commander. And I do recognize that the other Neriv, the one from the actual set, is probably a lot better. But everybody's doing that, and I don't like doing what everybody else does. I want to do my own thing, something weird, wacky, and goofy. I want to play something that when you sit down at the table with me, you're going, well, that's just not nice. How did you find that out? In fact, that actually happened just here recently. Had a couple of friends over at my home. We jammed a few games, and it was kind of a really good vibe. It was absolutely hilarious because one of our good friends, G, he just was like, everybody else has 3 or 4 or 5 permanents on the battlefield, and I pay attention to it. And I'm like, okay, that's not that bad. But you start getting 3 or 4 or 5 permanents on the battlefield, and it's like, oh my lord, what is happening over there? I couldn't help but laugh, and I thought it was great. Thanks for the love, G. So let's dive into what makes Neriv so unique and why I chose Neriv. So for 5 mana, 2 in Mardu, you get a 4/4 Spirit Dragon that has Flying and Death Touch. Of course he's legendary. I don't think I really have to say that part. And whenever he enters, you make 2 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens. Nice. So for 5 mana, we get a total of 6 power, 6 defense, and one of them is a Flying Death Touching Dragon. Pretty good to me, in my humble opinion. But then it says, whenever Neriv attacks, exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of differently named tokens you control. During any turn that you have attacked with a commander, you may play those cards. You notice it says play. That means you can do things such as lands and it not hurt you, because the lands are being able to be played and you're not missing land drops. That is probably the biggest issue with anything that says exile, because usually it's an exile to end of turn, and well, you needed that couple of mana to keep your train going. Well, now you don't. Neriv just keeps it in a permanent exile, and every time you attack with a commander, so potentially you could build this in a different way where you're stealing everybody else's commanders, and as long as you're attacking with a commander, you're able to play those cards. Not necessarily just Neriv. Neriv just makes more and gives you better selection. Something very important to keep in mind if you want to try your own version of this deck. Let's look at our Planeswalker cell. We're running Elspeth, Sun's Champion. She allows us to make tokens, which we absolutely enjoy. She can board wipe potentially before or even after our boy Neriv is out. Or she can just make our stuff get a +2/+2 and have flying. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you have seen Elspeth, Sun's Champion in several of the decks. It's just a good Planeswalker. I mean, the value you get out of her is just good player. And actually, if you have the ability for it, whether you've pulled one in a booster pack, or maybe somebody traded you one, the brand new Elspeth, the Storm Slayer, probably really stupid good in this deck. Just a heads up. I'm not in this build because this is budget friendly. Minus a few cards from the set that are a little pricey. But next up we have Pintorius Con. Pintorius Cant, right? I don't know. So, for 5 mana, we get a 4 loyalty planeswalker that says the absolute heat of the following. So, whenever you cast a spell from exile, he's going to deal 2 damage to each opponent and you get to gain 2 life. So, that already is great. It already synergizes with our commander. We love this. And then we can +1 him to make a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Great. More synergy with our commander. -3, we can discover 4, which basically means we're going to flip over the top card of our deck till we hit a non-land card, mana value 4 or less, and we may cast it or we may put it into our hand. By the way, if you really want to get going, that's a very good thing to keep doing. And then -6, exile any number of target cards from your graveyard. Add a red mana for each card exiled this way, and you may play those cards until, well, play this card to this turn. So essentially until end of turn. So he allows us to basically buy back some of the stuff that has been used or blown up, and we have a lot of potential to get things like that going. But predominantly we like the fact that he makes a body, and then every time we do something from exile, he nugs everybody 2 damage and we get to gain some life. He has that much synergy with him, that's why we like to run him in this deck. Let's look at our creature package. Now, aside from some of the creatures in this deck that are actually from the excuse me, from the precons, this deck is very, very budget friendly. Let's start it off, shall we? We have Adeline. Vigilance, power equal to the number of creatures we control, and whenever we attack, for each opponent, make a 1/1 human creature that is tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. So Adeline is a powerhouse from the precon, and we're just going to keep her in this one because she makes bodies and we're able to start doing our thing. Next up is Anok Strike Leader. Again, it's from the precon, and whenever you attack with this creature and or your commander for each opponent, create a 1/1 tapped goblin creature token that's attacking that player. And most importantly, we can sacrifice this creature. Creature tokens you control gain indestructible until end of turn, so we can protect our board. Angel of Invention, again from the precon. I'm not going to say that for all of these cards because you can look at the set symbol and tell what's from the precon, and it kind of gets an idea of why some of the cards are a little bit pricier than others. But this is 5 mana for a 2/1 Flying Vigilant Lifelinking Angel with Fabricate 2. We can either make 2 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature tokens, or we can make this thing into a potentially 4 3-beat stick. So it kind of depends on what we're needing at the time. But she also says that other creatures we control get a +1/+1. Baron Bertram Greywater. So for a total of 5 mana, 2 in Orzhov, we get a 3/4 that says whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 black vampire rogue creature token with lifelink. Only once each turn though. Only once. And then you can sacrifice another creature or an artifact to draw a card. Next up we have Bone Tarn Butcher. I probably said that all wrong. It has the new mobilize mechanic, which means whenever it attacks, we get 2 tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior soldier creature tokens that must be sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. And then attacking tokens you control have death touch. Pretty nice. Elissa Core, because we're going to be having creatures enter and dying, so we're able to gain life and drain life from our opponents. Legion Warboss is just another great card for this deck, so at the beginning of combat we're going to make a goblin that has to attack, so it goes right along with our commander. Iron Will Forger, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, target non-legendary creature you control gains Myriad until end of turn. So pretty sweet there. This one is from the Doctor Who set. This is Araxa, Empress of Mars. So for 4 mana, we get a 5/4 alien warrior with trample and battle cry. But most importantly, whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, create a 2/2 red alien warrior creature token. Nice. So that is why she's in the deck, or it. I'm not really sure. I believe being the Empress, it might be a female, but it is an alien warrior, so we do not know for sure. Let me know in the comments if you actually know there is a gender to this character or not, because it's just kind of interesting to me. I don't watch Doctor Who, so I do not know. But back to the deck. She is in here because when we do things from exile, aside from playing lands, we're able to get some kind of benefit out of it. Hero, Blighthold, Battlecry, attacks, we make 2 bodies. Goldlust Triad, absolutely love this dragon. It has Myriad, meaning we could turn it sideways on one person and make 2 token copies of it just the same. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we're going to make a treasure token. Gix Yawgmoth Praetor is a card drawing engine, and we can have other benefits out of it, but predominantly it's going to be a card draw engine. So whenever another creature deals combat damage to one of our opponents, its controller may pay 1 life, and if they do, they get to draw a card. The Loyal Apprentice and it has Lieutenant as well, which means at the beginning of our combat on our turn, we're able to make a 1/1 Thopter with Flying and Haste. With all the tokens we're generating and getting rid of, Mirkwood Bats is a slam dunk in this deck, so whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent's going to lose 1 life. Morbid Opportunist, whenever one or more other creatures die, we get to draw a card. It triggers only once each turn. That's okay, we don't mind. Ophiomancer, or a Hissy Snake, as some other people are knowing her as. And it just says at the beginning of each upkeep, if we don't control a 1/1 black and green snake creature token, we make 1. Party Thrasher, really stout card in this deck. So for 2 mana, we get a 1/4 that says non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke, meaning we can tap our tokens to pay for them. And at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card, and if you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Nice. Great synergy with our deck. We absolutely love it. What more could we want, right? Next up, Hia Nalar, or Council of Revival. So for Boros, we get Thopters you control have haste from a human artificer. That's a 2/3. And then it says, whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 Thopter with flying. So she benefits a lot from our commander, and that's why she's in the deck. I mean, it's just good synergy, y'all. Just good synergy. Zergo Stormrender. He is the leader of the deck. You've probably seen him a million times by now, so I'm not really going to go over him. I'm not really sure if I want to keep him in the deck or not. I think there might be something better we can use here instead, and just kind of tinkering with this deck to see what I like, what I don't like still. This is Welcoming Vampire, also from the precon. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enters, we get to draw a card. It triggers only once each turn. This guy is amazing in this deck. I love him to death. The one, the only, the Jolly Balloon Man. So for 1 in Boros, we get a Human Clown. That's a 1/4 with a haste. We can pay 1 mana, tap it. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other colors and types. It also has flying and haste, and then we sack it at the beginning as step only as a sorcery. So we really enjoy that capability. Folly's Reverent Medium. So at the beginning of each end step, create X 1/1 spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. So if we're able to create tokens on somebody else's turn, you know, something like a non-budget version of this deck would include Smothering Tithe, and this we're able to start generating more and more bodies. Redoubled Stormsinger, he is a really powerful card from the original commander that says whenever this creature attacks, for each creature token you control that enters this turn, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that token. And then at the beginning in the next end step, sacrifice those tokens. I've seen this in an episode of Commander at Home go completely bananas, and it made everybody's head hurt trying to figure out how much and what all was going on. It was actually pretty hilarious. A couple of board wipes with Vanquish the Horde and Hour of Reckoning. So Vanquish Horde will get rid of everything. Hour of Reckoning gets rid of all non-tokens. Painful Truths, just some decent little card draw to help keep our hand a little full, which we kind of don't really need. Next up, our instant package, if my computer would work with me here. We're running Anguish Unmaking, Gifts Ungiven, Wear Tear, Chaos Warp, The Inevitable Defeat, Crackling Doom, Stroke of Midnight, and Swords to Plowshares, all to deal... Oh, and Path to Exile. I don't know how I missed that one. All to deal with things that our opponents have and just make them the saddest of people. The Eviscerator's Insight is a nice addition to a deck like this. So as an additional cost to cast the spell, sack an artifact or creature, draw 2, and it has flashback. Dead Dispute, sack an artifact or creature, draw 2, make a treasure. Corrupted Conviction, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. You can see where they are going with this. If we have tokens that are going to die anyway, let's get some value out of them. Next up is Grand Crescendo. That's also from the precon. I'm so happy it got a reprint because it was expensive as all get out. So for white, and X, we create X 1/1 white, green, citizen creature tokens, and then most importantly, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So as you can see, our instant package is pretty solid, pretty set in stone. We got things we like and things we want to do, and we intend to do it. So let's look at the artifact package. Pretty standard as you would expect with the Signets, Orzhov, Rakdos, and Arcane, and even the Boros Signet. We also have Wayfarer's Bubble, the Soul Ring, a Commander Sphere, a Talisman of Conviction, Hierarchy, and Indulgence. We're even running a Thought Vessel because, believe it or not, we are going to get to a point where I have too many cards because we're going to want to play a lot of our juicy stuff that's been exiled. We also have the Infantry Shield still in the original deck, as well as the Idol of Oblivion to help us draw some cards. We are running down to our enchantments now because our artifacts are pretty standard. They're, going to help us cast our stuff here and there. Not really a whole lot to go over there. Our enchantments is where things get a little fun with Assemble the Legion. So at the beginning of your upkeep, put a muster counter on this, and then create a 1/1 white and red soldier creature token with haste for each counter that is on Assemble the Legion. It gets really bad really fast. Excuse me. Next up, Baron Step Siege. So this is a new siege from the Tarkir Dragonstorm set, and as enters we get to choose one. Abzan, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Nice, not bad. Or Mardu. And at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature for choice. Oh no, it seems somebody went for evil. It's pretty much a really version of like Grave Pact effects, because we're just going to yeet the tokens anyway. We don't really care. So we're just going to kind of get some value and make people sacrifice things too and make them just be all the sats as well. Bastion of Remembrance comes into play, makes us a dude, and then whenever a creature we control dies, everybody loses a life and we get to gain a life. Divine Visitation, with one or more tokens will be created under our control. Create that many 4/4 angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance instead. So it can help with some evasion. Thunder of Unity has a saga that says, for chapter 1, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and then 2 and 3 are the same thing with whenever another creature you control enters this turn, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. pretty good incremental value. The cautious welcome is just another card draw by saying whatever one or more creatures you control with mana value 3 or less enter. Draw a card, triggers only once each turn, but when you upgrade the deck to ridiculous heights and you're running things like Smothering Tithe and then you have Balisa out, you can trigger this multiple times and it gets really dumb. Finally, we have Within Range. It's from the original set. When this enchantment enters, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. And whenever you attack, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. So we don't even have to connect. We're already going to start draining your life total and make you sad. The mana base is pretty much what you would expect from the original build of this deck. And it's just kind of, good incremental value lands. Castle Ardenville makes us tokens. Vault of the Archangel makes us stuff gain Death Touch and Lifelink. And, just some nice color fixing throughout with Wanderer's Enclave being able to draw a card and Field of Ruin to take care of a problematic land. And that's pretty much the gist of the deck. Mana curve is not that bad. We're able to get some decent hands. I'm still kind of working and tweaking on this deck a little bit. I really think it's got potential to be a lot of fun and do a lot of things. I mean, good lord, we got like 20 different tokens over here that we can use. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you see that? Did you see the considering board? Oh my. So let's take a look at that, shall we? So this is our considering board. We have Amim Call, 1000th Moon. So for 1 and Boros, we get a 1/2 that says whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on her, and then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens. That are tapped and attacking will X as the number of 1 counters on her. It has potential to get really big, really fast, and do some really dumb shenanigans with, Divine Visitation out. Instead of making gnomes, we're making big, dumb, idiotic angels that are tapped and attacking. What's not to like about this, guys? Sorry, chair's not the best. This is Camball, Profiting Mayor. So for 1 in Orzhov, you get a 2/4 that says whenever 1 or more tokens are enter the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them, create a tapped token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. So if we play another token deck, we're able to generate an army ourselves. And then whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. We have another big score with this. This is Prosper Tome Bound. So for 2 in Rakdos, we get a 1/4 Trifling Warlock with Death Touch. Now, he's probably the all-star, the golden goose, the center of the temple, if you will, if you're going non-budget. So at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Play. That means lands as well can be played from this guy. But then most importantly, Pact Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, you get a treasure token. Oh, so good. Means he has so much value. A rising star from the original set is Voice of Victory. Has Mobilize 2, which we don't really care too much. We don't really plan to attack with this. But for 2 mana, we get a 1/3 that says your opponents cannot cast spells during your turn. He locks our opponents out of doing things, and we just laugh maniacally as we start our train. Borrow's Charm makes our stuff indestructible. Impact Tremors will ding everybody every time we have creatures enter the battlefield. Passionate Archaeologist, as long as we have our commander, will say the following. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. Smothering Tithe we alluded to earlier, and War Leader's Call. If you play any kind of standard, you pretty much should know what this does already. It gives our team a boost of +1/+1, and whenever another creatures enter the battlefield under our control, this thing will deal 1 damage to each opponent. Last but not least, we just have 7 lands that could upgrade the mana base and help it flow a little bit more on the even and balanced side. And that's pretty much it for the considering board as far as probably non-budget friendly upgrades I would look at doing. Now, my personal deck that I have on paper has all those upgrades to it, and it seems to do well. Like I've said before in this video, I'm still just kind of tinkering and modifying and seeing what I like, what I don't like with the deck. It's a work in progress. So let me know what you think. What did you do with Neriv as far as focusing on his ability to exile things and get incremental value? Is that something that had interest to you like it did me? Or did you just kind of cheat and build the other Neriv, which is obviously the better commander in my 2 cents of an opinion? But I like doing things that are wacky and off the beaten trail. So let me know what you think. Don't be afraid. Leave me some comments. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me, share my channel, and show me some love. I have a lot of other things I'm still trying to figure out and get up and going on the channel. So stay tuned for new surprises that may come at any point in time. In order to do that, go ahead and ramp up to hit that bell icon. And if you're a new viewer, hey, what are you doing? Go ahead, like the videos, share the videos, and please do subscribe. I can tell you right now, the like button is only a 1/1 creature, and the other two are just 0/1 plants. You can take them because you're an almighty Buddha. And I have been the Buddha Dragon. Don't forget, rub that belly for mana, and make all your games be filled with magic. Let me know in the comments below, how do you like Neriv, and where would you take him next? Until the next time, may all your games be filled with magic. Good luck.